areas, it is possible that the recording cameras will capture your image, and this will result in the possibility that your image will become part of that broadcast. By entering the council chamber and using the press or lower seating areas, you are consenting to being filmed and consenting to the use and storage of those images for broadcasting and training purposes, and for the purpose of keeping historical records and making those records available to the public. If you wish to avoid this, you should move to the upper public gallery. A copy of the council's privacy notice may be found on the council's website at www.derrystrabane.com. Declarations of members' interests. If there's anything during the meeting, sure, you can just declare it. Chairperson's business. We have a bit of chairperson's business today, not as much as last month, but still we have a bit. Now I'm just going to read the names out in order that they come into me. But if I have missed or left anybody out, please indicate to me now. So my first notification was from Emma McGinley. The second was from Caroline Devine. The third was from Jason Barr. The fourth was from Sandra. The fifth was from Naireen. And the sixth was from Christopher. So that's all I have. Derek, sorry.
I had emailed into Mayor's office and to your own personal email requesting permission as well.
Apologies for that. Can you tell me when it was, Derek?
One is the Tyrone Super Cup team launch, and the second one, Much Ado Stage School.
No bother, but was it a couple of days ago? I just want to bring you in order. How long ago was it? How many days ago was it? Do you think?
2 days ago, I think.
2 days ago. Well, then I'll bring you in before Christopher. You're now number 6, okay? Sorry, Christopher. You're relegated. You're downgraded. But you weren't asked, Christopher. So there you are. I'm being totally fair. You weren't asked. So you remain last. Okay, I suppose before we start our members, chairperson's business for myself, I want to congratulate Conor Bradley again on his, I suppose, moving to international success, and hopefully he will continue on that journey. I also want to congratulate the council and all the co-design participants of the workshops on the 8 million Peace Plus that has been confirmed, and that will ensure that 58 projects in our council area can proceed. Unfortunately, as we all know, this will be the last Peace Plus, and because of Brexit. But well done to all who submitted those applications. So I'm going to bring in now Councillor Emma McGinley.
Mayor, the issue that it's not an issue, it's a congratulations, I suppose. Some might be aware that across the council district, we've had a number of winners in the Worlds for Irish dancing. One of those winners is from Cragen, Mia Carlin. I would know her family. They're really, really proud. Mia won the under-11 Worlds last year, and she won first place in the under-12 Worlds this year. I know you had done a reception for her at the start of your term, but I think that given the significance of the World Championships, it would be fitting that we send a letter of congratulations to everybody that placed first in the World Championships from across the district, to congratulate them. I think it's a massive achievement, and it's something we should be proud of and we should recognise.
Thank you, Emma. And just on that, I am aware that the World Championships took place in Killarney last week, I think, or the week before, and this council district did exceedingly well, of first and second places across a number of age groups, and there has been a number of those dancers who have won it for quite a number of years. So I will certainly get all the information on the names of those who won a place, but even to those that participated too as well. Congratulations to them, because to get to that caliber of contest, you know, is no mean feat in itself. So I will get that information gathered and a card sent out to them all. Alderman Cook.
Thanks, Mayor, for letting me in. I'll just concur with Emma. I know there was a young girl from Drumahoe who actually placed in the Worlds as well. So I just want to congratulate everybody for firstly taking part and all those who placed as well. So thank you.
I'm going on now to Caroline.
Good Mayor. I have 2 items, if that's all right. I want to start just by congratulating Jude Gallagher from Newton Stewart on qualifying to represent Ireland in the Paris Olympics this summer. Jude is a boxer and he boxes with the Two Castles Boxing Club in Newton Stewart, which was founded by his father, John. I was present at Jude's homecoming celebrations a couple of weeks ago. And there's just so much excitement in Newton Stewart and within boxing circles locally and in the Ireland camp as well. Jude's the first Tyrone boxer in 40 years to go to the Olympics, so I don't want to let the Tyrone side down either. I want to mention that. I spoke with Jude's coaches and they are really hopeful that he's going to come back with a medal, and I hope that's the case. He's been boxing since he was 8 years of age and he won his first Irish national championship when he was still at primary school. And he has a really impressive list of titles under his belt. He has 14 Irish national titles. He has numerous Ulster and Ulster 9 county championships. He's 3 Nations champion, European and World Youth bronze medalist. He's an Ulster Elite champion. He's a Commonwealth Games gold medalist. And he's only 22 years of age. And I think that's an amazing achievement. Jude is hardworking and disciplined as a boxer, and he's also grounded and modest as a young man. So, Mayor, I would like to ask if you could please hold a reception for Jude, just in recognition of what he has achieved, and hopefully by the end of the summer we'll be celebrating again.
It's not a problem at all, Caroline. Thank you. Well done, Jude. I know, Caroline, you have another issue, but Sandra indicated, yeah.
Good Mayor, and if I go home without congratulating Jude, I'll be in trouble. On behalf of my boxing family, I would like to be associated with Caroline's comments in relation to Jude. Jude has been absolutely fantastic to watch growing from the age of 8. The work that he has put into boxing, his discipline. I'll tell you just a funny story. I give Jude a lift from Dublin a number of years back. He was trying to make weight. I ate chips the whole way up the road and Jude didn't even ask for one. So, and he always slags me about it, but I have to say he's been a fantastic young man, fantastic ambassador for the sport of boxing, and I wish him all the best, and I am absolutely confident that he will come home with a medal from the Olympics. Really look forward to Paris and shouting him on.
Alderman Hussey.
Thank you. Just to concur with the congratulations that have been extended by Councillor Devine. It's a tremendous achievement for a young man from our neck of the woods, and we hope that he can progress further in his Olympic quest. But I think we also have to pay tribute to the club, who do tremendous work in Newton Stewart, and that I heartily recommend to the council the work that is done by that boxing club in our local area. And indeed, Jude's father, John, is a force to be reckoned with, as some of our officers know when they're dealing with the regeneration issues around Newton Stewart. So sincere congratulations to Jude, best wishes going forward, but also remember the excellent work being done by the club. Thank you.
Councillor Barr.
Thank you, Mayor. And it's just on behalf of the SDLP, just also to congratulate Jude for qualifying for the Olympics in Paris. And there's no beating about the bush to say that this councillor has been fantastic in the boxing ranks for many years, and I'm sure that'll continue to happen right into the future. And as Councillor Duffy rightly says, I have no doubt that Jude will be bringing back an Olympic medal to this area where we can all celebrate that success. Thank you.
No other speakers, so Caroline, your second issue.
I would just like to recognise the fundraising efforts of a small local charity, the Gemma McGill Foundation. The foundation was established by Kieran and Siobhan McGill from Killeator in memory of their beautiful daughter Gemma, who was tragically died in a car accident in May 2012 at the age of 20. They held a first fundraising event a year later to remember Gemma, and Gemma's 5K and cycle are now annual events that take place in Ahiarn. And in the subsequent years, the foundation has raised over £250,000. And I think that's a really remarkable achievement for a small rural-based charity. The money they've raised has been used locally in our community to support a number of different initiatives. It provides counselling, mindfulness and relaxed kids in 6 local primary schools, which has been really vital, particularly in the light of recent withdrawal of the Healthy Happy Mind programme. They have established a bereavement support group, and they also support the Castleberg Patient Comfort and Terminally Ill Fund, as well as a whole raft of other charities, the MS Society, the Cancer Centre and Children's Ward in Altnagalvin, Cystic Fibrosis Trust, the Air Ambulance. So, Mayor, again, I'd like to ask, please, that in recognition for the work that they've done and the amazing fundraising they've done, that you would maybe hold a reception for them.
Yeah, that's no problem. Okay. Speakers in that one, so we'll go on to Councillor Barr.
Mayor, thank you very much for letting me in. On the evening of March the 2nd, news started to filter through Strabane town that Jordan Gallagher had went missing. What started that night and continued for the next 3 days and nights was nothing short of heroic from the community. From the statutory agencies, from the PSNI, the Gardaí, the Fire Service, to the amazing volunteers of the Community Rescue Service, Foyle Search and Rescue, Free River Search and Rescue, the Search and Rescue Dog Association, Boyne Rescue and Recovery from Drogheda, and Mallow Search and Rescue from County Cork. These were also joined by members of the family and friends of Jordan. These were also supported by members of the local GA clubs, from the boxing, martial arts groups also. Having said that, Mayor, the heroism of the Strabane community and further afield didn't stop there. Each day in between searches, everyone involved were invited to Krusty's Bar, to the Strabane Martial Arts Club, where local cafes and shops and members of the public provided refreshments free of charge for all those involved in the search. Strabane sometimes, unfortunately, gets the wrong end of the stick when it comes to the news. But when somebody or a family in Strabane needs support, Strabane are one of those towns that pulls together, and that can definitely be seen. Jordan's Auntie Leah posted a quote every evening that read, "As the sun rises tomorrow, let it be the light that guides you home." Thankfully, as the sun rose on Monday morning, this would be the light that guided Jordan home. On Monday afternoon, Mayor, Jordan was recovered from the River Foyle, and the family now will be able to lay Jordan to rest and give him the send-off that he rightly deserves. Today, we in the SDLP offer our sincere, heartfelt condolences to her and Divine families, in particular to his mum Danielle, father Richard, partner Leah, his young son Jaden, brothers Jacob, Ryan and Brandon, his sister Caitlin, grandparents Nolan and Thomas, aunts and uncles, wider family circle and friends. And can I suggest, Mayor, that you please write a letter of condolence on behalf of everyone in the council to the Divine and Gallagher families. May Jordan rest in peace. Thank you.
Okay. Councillor Boggs.
Just, Mayor, to concur that Strabane does come together during tragedies like this, and I don't think there are any words that we can say here today that is going to comfort either of those families, but to thank the community and rescue services, the statutory and voluntary agencies, the sporting clubs and anybody who took part in those searches to help bring Jordan home. And on behalf of Sinn Féin, just that we hold that family, or both families, very close in our hearts at such a difficult time.
Councillor Gallagher.
Thank you, Mayor. And maybe concur with the previous speakers, but I think, Mayor, that it should go without saying that Strabane is suffering very highly this last while from our young people losing their lives. And I think it's important that we say there's reasons for it. And those reasons are preventable. They are. If there's a willingness from central government, if there's a willingness from the trusts, from our health trusts, and if there's a willingness from local providers. And Mayor, in Strabane Town, there's a lot of our young people are not getting access to services. And this is why they're ending up in the likes of the river. And we, as a council, need and should be taking some responsibility of saying, how can we address this? Not just accepting that this has happened to our young people. Over the last number of years, we can name quite a number of young people that have gone to their graves, and this has still not been addressed. Thank you.
Thank you. This is a very difficult time for both families involved, and I do have to say that the loss of life is regrettable across the board. We do have a civic forum in this council who come together and advise on all the services that is out there, and I want to, as mayor, thank the community and voluntary sector who a lot of the times pick up the pieces that the statutory sector cannot provide. They're that overwhelmed. But obviously, the more services that go into the whole council district, because it's an issue across the board, the better. But we have to let people know about the services that is out there, and hopefully they are able to reach them. So, Alderman McMorris.
Thank you, Mayor. And just a bit on record too, from the DUP, we also pass on our condolences. This city knows only too well the tragic loss of lives due to suicide and going under the river. So we'd just like to pass our condolences on to the family. Thank you.
On to the next, and Sandra.
Good morning, Mayor, for allowing me in, and I just want to comment on the university. But I want to say, in relation to over the last number of weeks, we have had very positive news stories coming out of this council area, particularly around some of the City Deal projects and how they're moving forward. And particularly just this week, we had the presentation from the university, from the Western Trust and CTRIC in terms of how those projects are moving forward. But I wanted to comment specifically on the establishment of the task force around the university and congratulate the members who have been appointed onto it. I think that it goes without saying that Stephen Kelly has a wealth of experience and is a proud dairyman and will proudly take that forward. Nicholas Skelly as well, whose knowledge and skills in third level education will bring a wealth of knowledge to the task force. And of course, John, yourself in terms of the Chief Executive of the Council and a champion for the City and District. So I think that the task force in itself has fantastic people who have been attached to it, who have knowledge, skills and an understanding of the needs of the City and District and a drive to take the task force forward and ensure that we do deliver the university that the City and District deserves. I want to congratulate the Minister, Conor Murphy, for the establishment of the task force and his commitment to taking this forward. He did say that he would establish a task force that would take forward the university issue, and that's what he has done. I think that it demonstrates our continued commitment to see at least 10,000 students for the City and District and build the infrastructure that is needed to sustain and develop this for the City and District. I really look forward to seeing the plan that is brought forward and how we can deliver on it. I do think that the university is an economic driver for the City and District and for the North West, and I think that the task force is a great step forward in trying to achieve that. We are committed to addressing regional imbalance, and this again shows our determination and the determination of Sinn Féin to address the inequalities and make this City and District a fantastic city and district that's going to thrive and survive. I have put forward a small proposal. It's just around writing to the Minister and writing to the chair of the task force. I sent it through to the committee section earlier on today.
Do you have a seconder for that, Christopher? Everybody get a chance to read that there? I have 2 speakers on my list here. Right, I'll just give you another wee minute there. Everybody okay to go? Yeah. I put you down on the list. I have two speakers in front of you. Councillor Harkin.
Thank you, Mayor, for letting us in. And there is no doubt that the announcement of the establishment of a task force to move forward and progress the expansion of higher education and McGee here in the city is welcome, and it could be a critical step in ensuring that McGee actually becomes a campus with 10,000 students as soon as possible. And obviously, the limit for the number of students there isn't 10,000. I think the goal should be ultimately 20,000. And I say it could be a critical step because, as people have said in response to this, there's been many task force right now, and it hasn't actually led to the goals that the task force was set up for. I think it's very clear that Ulster University, by its own volition, has refused to expand itself in Derry in the way that we as a council and the way that the vast majority of residents here would like to see that. And that's evidence of that is that there is an ongoing 60-year campaign. So we have called for government to actually intervene with Ulster University and direct Ulster University to actually change what it does in Derry. And I think that that's why the task force can be a necessary step. There's a few things I would say which I think reflect some of the discussions I've been in with people since the announcement. One is that I was a little surprised that somebody from the business sector was appointed the chair. I would have thought, since this is a matter of education for Derry in the Northwest, it should have been led by someone from the education sector itself. Of course, that there is a business connection to the expansion of our university, but centrally a university, and McGee University, is about education of our students for whatever they decide to do in the future. So that was one thing that I will raise, because it's been raised by other people. Secondly, I think, look, there's been a tremendous amount of research done about what needs to happen to expand McGee. And I think that much of that work was done, is already there. It's sitting at this council. It's at Stormont. There's many organisations that have been involved in that. I would have thought there would be more, to be honest, meat on the bones in terms of what the minister was
aiming to do and how that was going to happen. So it wouldn't just be an announcement about a task force. And then the third thing that I would want to say, I think that I did see it mentioned that trade unions would be involved and that the community sector would be involved. I think it's very important that that there is involvement of as many people as possible in organisations that view and have been campaigning for university expansion. Indeed, look, we are in discussion right now, and I've had meetings today with representatives talking about their plans for student accommodation. And I think that this is very, very pressing. And I don't think that this is something that can be left to be sorted out without council, without Ulster University officials directly involved. So that means community has to be involved as well. And look, the last thing I'll say is this is an election year. And this cannot be, in my opinion, and I think in the opinion of many other people, this cannot be about some sort of report this summer and then another report in December. I think what people want to see is action. So we want an action plan of dates when buildings are going up and when the target of 10,000 is actually going to be reached. I think that that's what we should expect now that there is government intervention. Thank you, Mayor.
Councillor Tierney.
Thank you, Mayor. And I am certainly not afraid to give credit where credit's due. I think the task force is a very, very welcome step. And you'll remember when the executive was re-established, I sat in this chamber and said, when there is something to give praise about, I have no issue in doing it. And I do genuinely believe that the task force is a positive way forward and a positive step forward for university expansion in this city. It's something which university expansion has been talked about by everybody across the city, but there has been no real driver to try and make sure that we succeed in the plans that we're doing. Lots of people have bandied about lots of figures, and suppose probably for the first time this afternoon I've heard the figure of 20,000 students at Magee, and that would be great, brilliant. But I have spoken to the university on countless amounts of time, either in this chamber or as a party holding separate meetings. And the university are very clear that yes, they have a figure that they want to get to, but it's incremental steps and they need the city to come with them. So whilst 20,000 may be some people's idea, let's see how far we can get this. But that's the job of the task force, is they work out what the figure is and how we're going to get there and how we're going to manage to go up those incremental steps. During Monday's meeting, when the Pro-Vice Chancellor was there, and I questioned him several times, Mayor, you will recall, he actually talked about extra capital investment coming from central government around that particular phase of the medical school. And I questioned him on that, and his figure was around £40 million. And people who were here or who were watching online will remember that. There's also been a statement recently by the Pro-Vice Chancellor saying that to get the 7,500 students, we need £385 million to go that far. So to get to 20,000, God knows how much we need. But this has to be done in partnership with the community. I think Stephen Kelly would make a fantastic chair and will make a fantastic chair. I don't mind what background he comes from. I think he comes at this with a genuine ambition for the city, regardless of whether it's backgrounds in education or whether it's in business. I don't think that matters. He's got, and anybody who knows him or speaks to him will know that he's got that underlying love for this city and the ambition for the city and the drive to help support that. And I think that's what we need more than a background in education or in business or in anything else. That driving force to help drive this task force forward. But this has to be done in partnership with the community. And I recognise and welcome the fact that the university, I think it's tomorrow night, they're holding an open meeting in the Glen Development Initiative to talk to the wider community around that area about how they plan to build the infrastructure to support the number of students that we have ambitions to, and that they have ambitions to get there. I think that's key as well. The task force is welcome. The public meetings are welcome. The plan for infrastructure is welcome. It's all fantastic and it's all moving in the right direction. And I don't think at this stage we are in a position to criticise it. I think we have to support it and drive it forward. So the SDLP are happy to support the proposal that's there. I'm disappointed that Councillor Jackson got on before me to second it, because I was happy to second it to show our commitment to supporting the task force and the work that they're doing. But what we need, once the task force reports, is then the government and the minister at that point to support the findings and the ambitions of the task force, to support it financially, and to give that commitment that once the plan is agreed by the task force and presented to government, that the funds will become available to provide it and to drive that expansion forward. Otherwise, Mayor, if that's not there, all the report of the task force becomes is the one plan. We've all been through it. We all know what happens. It's sitting in a desk somewhere in Stormont. And at that time, the minister, when the one plan was being developed, was committed to the one plan, was committed to the delivery of it. But when it reported, he wasn't committed then to financing it. And that's what we need to see from the task force, is making sure that they have that commitment from central government and from the minister in particular, Conor Murphy, who's named in the notice of motion, that once the plans are developed, that his department will support it, and that he will support the task force to champion university expansion. Because other than that, all we have is a list of meetings for people to attend with no outcome of delivery. So I would like to see that come up from the minister, that once local people do their work here, that the government are going to support it, because that's where we've seen failure before, and that's where I agree with Councillor Harkin. That's where it's dropped down before, and that's where we can't allow it to drop down anymore. And that's where I hope that we hopefully will unite around welcoming the task force, will unite around demanding that the minister has the money available to support the findings of the task force. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. And just before I bring on Councillor Gallagher, I do also agree with you. I do think Stephen Womack an excellent chair. When you have the relevant skill set, you can adapt it to any situation. And I think the expansion of McGee, it's not just about education. It's a whole holistic approach, and I do believe that Stephen has that skill set that can be adapted anywhere. Councillor Gallagher.
Thank you, Mayor. Just having a bit of a laugh there. I hope he doesn't take up brain surgery. But Mayor, this proposal, Mayor, I would have a few concerns with this proposal. And when reading it, when I see in it our ambition, that gives me concerns. Because I'll tell you why, look, it was our ambitions in this area to have a full open university 60 years ago, and that never happened. I think that if we were looking to reinforce this, we should be writing to the minister and saying, we want you to implement government policy, because this is government policy that we were promised under the New Decade New Approach. So it's about reminding them of government policy that I think we should be doing, not reducing it down to our ambition, which this motion says. I would also have concerns as a council, as a corporate body, of congratulating the appointment of Stephen Kelly. I don't say that I know Stephen Kelly, and I don't say that as any disregard for Stephen Kelly. What I don't know, and what this council doesn't know, is the process that was used to appoint him. I don't know, was there other interested people that may have sought this position but didn't get the opportunity? So I think we need to be careful of congratulating someone on getting an appointment that we don't know the process. Now, if Stephen Kelly delivers this task force and they deliver 10,000 students, we can congratulate him all day long, not a bother. But congratulating on an external appointment and we don't know the process, I think we should be careful. Thank you.
No bother. Alderman Kerrigan.
Thank you
you very much, Mayor, for allowing me in. And Mayor, no issue with the proposal as it is there. Again, it has been one of the long-term objectives there, and it's been pushed at many meetings over the years there about getting this to this figure of 10,000 students. And again, it is now we're seeing maybe a wee bit of meat on the bones, or hopefully getting to that stage. So again, those that were able to attend the meeting on Monday, when we had the medical end of things in there, you know, it was very ambitious, and it was good to see, and the work that they wanted to do, but ultimately not going too far out of it. It wasn't going to add to a massive number of students additional to the current, given the investment that was required. So, you know, the 10,000 students is going to be a big ask. It's going to be a lot of work into that. So at least now we're getting that process where there is that moving towards that and how it's going to be done. But it's going to take a lot of investment and a lot of energy and engagement with us as council as well, because those in regards to the like of the planning committee there, will we have more, if we do get 10,000 students, where are we going to put them? You know, and that's going to be the factor then as well, as will there be applications for that as well? It's not just the teaching there, it's the whole bringing them into the city and having that opportunity of university life. So again, there's a lot of work in it, a lot of work to be done, and we'll have no problem. And I'm sure the parties here will have no problem engaging as where needed and required. So, Mayor, content enough to support the proposal. Thank you very much.
Alderman Hussey.
Thank you. Just like others supporting the proposal, yes. But I think Alderman Kerrigan has alluded to another issue there, which I did hear debated on the radio this morning, and I'm sure others did as well. And it's the concern of the wider implications of the numbers coming, and that has to be addressed. And I'm not sure, I don't know if that lies within the remit of the task force that's been brought together in this. I would certainly hope that it does, and that together with the incoming students that will come to the university, and that's to be welcomed, that the appropriate infrastructure will be there to allow them to become part of the community of the city without disrupting the existing community that exists. We know that council has asked the university to come to ourselves and address this issue of accommodation. I'm not aware that they have offered to come yet, and yet they can come to a meeting that's being held tomorrow night, and that's welcome. That meeting is welcome with the community, but this council is waiting on the university to come specifically on the issue of accommodation. So, you know, the sooner they come, the better, and we can get that issue out of the way. Thank you.
I'm just, yes. John, did you want to come on there? No. No other speakers. Now, I think it may not be unanimous that we support this. It's not. Are you going to abstain? You're voting against? Yeah, right. John, can I take the vote, please?
Thank you, Mayor. Alderman Cook.
Or
Alderman Guy. Or John. Councillor Deeney. Councillor Devine. Connolly.
Against.
Councillor Alex Duffy. Councillor Sandra Duffy.
Ta.
Councillor Farrell.
Or
Councillor Fleming. Councillor Gallagher.
against.
Councillor Harkin. Councillor Hart. Councillor Heaney. Councillor Hutton. Councillor Jackson. Councillor Leonard. Councillor Logue.
or
Councillor McDade.
or
Councillor McGinley. Councillor McHugh. Councillor Mooney.
Or
Councillor Murphy. Councillor Norris. Councillor Farrell. Councillor Tierney.
And Councillor Nevis.
Uh,
Thank you, members. If I've done my calculations, Mayor, I think there are 26 for and 2 against and no abstentions.
Thank you, John. Moving on now,
Sorry, 36 for.
third,
2 against.
okay, everybody get that. Alderman McMorris.
Thank you, Mayor, and I'm delighted to inform you that the Waterside Shared Village has won a Good Relations Award. The nomination was submitted to the Good Relations Council and the Executive Office for the Connecting Communities Project Award, which was also supported by the Community Foundation. Each category had an overall winner and 2 runners-up, and there was 75 nominations from across Northern Ireland across the 5 categories. An award presentation event took place as part of the TBOC Engagement Forum on the 12th of March in Moseley Mill, Newton Abbey, where the Waterside Shared Village was the only winner in the Northwest, and in fact all other winners were located in the Belfast region. The Waterside Shared Village project has brought the 2 interface communities of Irish Street and Top of the Hill together. The project has resulted in the development of an iconic shared space. It's a shared community hub. Since opening in September 2022, Waterside Shared Village, in partnership with Derry City and Strabane District Council, had delivered cross-community programmes to 14,508 people from across the Irish Street, Top of the Hill and the wider Waterside area. They have delivered programmes that help participants to deal with the past and look to the future, and re-imaging programmes as well for both communities. Programmes have included shared education, sport, health and wellbeing, youth, cultural and primary and secondary after-school provision. The project has required participants to move across the interface in order to use community venues, spaces and services which are not located in their area. Through facilitating, encouraging and promoting movement between areas, the project has created a more cohesive society through the changing of attitudes and behaviours, the reduction in segregation and an increase in mutual respect for cultural differences. Mayor, Waterside Shared Village, we're really delighted to get this award for recognition of the work the community partners have done. But they also recognise the contribution from council staff and the Waterside Neighbourhood Partnership. Mayor, if it's not too late, can I request that you host a reception for the boards of the community partners and any relevant council staff and any other persons that was helped out with it. Thank you.
It's no bother, and congratulations to the Waterside Shared Village. And unless you know something that I don't, Nareen, it's not too late. I think of another 2 months to go, so hopefully I'll get them fitted in. So, Christopher.
Good Mayor, and again, just echo the sentiments from Alderman McMorris. The Waterside Shared Village is a fantastic initiative, and its concept has come from many years of relationship building between the 2 communities, and I know Alderman McMorris has been an entire part of that. So not only congratulating and Alderman McMorris in the achievement and the award, but the many years of work that's been put into building relationships right across the divide, if for want of a better word. And the Shared Village project, it came at the right time. You know, both sections of our community were ready for it. It was, and again, it's in the back of hard work from a huge amount of people who dedicated countless hours and they building relationships and breaking down barriers. So everybody that's been involved in that needs to be commended and congratulated. And I don't want to lower the tone, but the work of the Shared Village and the achievements of the Shared Village, and I suppose the future potential of the Shared Village demonstrates the importance of investing in communities. And we have seen that through the Peace Programme, which was alluded to earlier in your comments on their chair's business. And like we've as a council, have secured €8 million for the capital build on the shared village. There was hundreds of thousands that were secured to support communities to get us to this stage. The awards and the recognition and the relationships that have been built up wouldn't have been possible without that investment from Europe. And I know there's some within this chamber that campaigned for a Brexit, but and maybe seen that Brexit has been some sort of a success, but the lost opportunities that we've been able to, what we're currently enjoying and that we've experienced between Topple and Irish Street, have been denied to all our communities right across our city and district and right across the north as a result of Brexit. We need to recognise that the importance of investing in our communities. We need to recognise the importance of building relationships and addressing the divisions that we've seen for far too long in this part of the world. So we've lost the European funding. That needs to be replaced. And we do need to see those opportunities not being lost to other areas. So I know we can point at the Waterside Shared Village as a model of best practice, but it's a model of best practice that needs to be replicated. We need to have, there needs to be opportunities. We need to see those funding streams replaced by the British government who have ripped us out of the European Union against our will. And the Waterside Shared Village it should be a shining light around the need for that investment. So again, it's congratulate everybody in the award. It's well deserved, but it can't be the last. It can't be the Waterside Shared Village can't be the last flagship project that they help solidify relationships that have been built over many years. Thanks, Mayor.
Councillor Minnie.
Thank you, Chair, for bringing me in. And I'd like to just to extend thank you to Neri for bringing this up anyway. And obviously the cycle aid is much deserved because what we have now up there in situ is a fantastic venue that serves both communities, but it was hard sought and hard got. And obviously Alder Morris was the vanguard of that, along with others like Geraldine Doherty and other workers within the two communities who actually deserve the plaudits. And as I say, because what we have now is a fantastic centre which caters for both communities and a wide variety of sports, and it is, you know, testament that it's booked out and there's waiting lists to get into the centre. So, but I do join with Councillor Jackson the fact now that, you know, that this money was sought through European funds, and obviously now the successor forum, the Shared Prosperity Fund, is not fit for purpose. It's not shaping up to what we had previously. And Councillor Jackson is quite correct. The fact is that other communities and other potential projects have probably suffered as a result of this, of us losing this source of funding as a direct result of Brexit. So in light of that, you know, it's important that we need to say that. But obviously the main thrust is that congratulations is what you deserve to those who brought that centre. But obviously we've lost that important source of funding that brought the centre, and that has to be endorsed. But congratulations to Alder Morris and to both Hillcrest and Irish Street for sticking in and bringing that development. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. So moving on now to Chairperson's business number 6, and it's Alderman Hussey.
Thank you, Chair, and apologies, Chris. Mayor, we all know that the Foyle Cup's coming down the road, but also the Super Cup, formerly the Milk Cup, is coming down the road, and teams in all of the counties are preparing their squads for this. Tyrone falls under 3 different council areas: Fermanagh, Mid Ulster and ourselves. Fermanagh have hosted a launch, and then I'm not sure when, but you know, over the 2 previous years, Fermanagh have hosted. Mid-Ulster have hosted, and it comes round to the turn of Derry City and Strabane to host. And I've been approached with a request that in July, when the launch of the Tyrone Milk Cup, or sorry, the Tyrone Super Cup squad, the launch will occur in July. I know that falls into the next mayor's term, so perhaps through the mayor's office, that a reception and the hosting of the launch of the Tyrone Super Cup team can be facilitated by this district council. It has in the past actually happened in the Guildhall, but there's a specific request that the hosting for the Tyrone team will be in their own county. And they would suggest that perhaps that the team can be hosted, or the launch can be hosted in County Tyrone. Thank you.
Okay, we'll certainly look into that, sure, and see how. Go ahead, Brian.
Thank you, Mayor, and thanks to Alderman Hussey for raising this issue. Without getting into who the new mayor might or might not be, just to make it clear that the new mayor will commit to hosting that reception. And if it is the wishes of the club or the county to have it in their own county, it's definitely something that the new mayor will consider, obviously in support with the staff within the mayor's office. But just to confirm that the new mayor will host that reception. Thank you.
There we go.
I appreciate that, and the contact details, etc., will be passed on to the mayor's office.
Yeah, and just to let you know, I have receptions in County Tyrone at least once a week. Okay.
Come on, Tyrone, you're on your own. Second issue, Mayor. if I
Oh,
may.
sorry, second issue, go.
Mayor, those from about the Castleberg area will be well aware of the excellent work that is undertaken by Much Ado Stage School. That has now spread actually to Strabane, and indeed the reputation of the students from Much Ado is well known, having taken part in shows in the Millennium and indeed in Belfast, etc. The Much Ado has been, I should declare an interest, because when Much Ado started, both of my children 15 years ago were among its first students. The school itself not alone does, it does the drama, etc., but also on an education basis brings some of its students up to a diploma level. And those particular qualifications have proved useful to past students of Much Ado when they go for university applications, and it adds to the point score that they have in these applications. They've been going for 15 years. I think they have reached a stage where they deserve recognition from Council for the excellent work that is done. And I would propose that Council officially recognise via a reception the work of Much Ado Stage School. Thank you.
It's not a problem. Okay, thank you. Rory?
Thank you, Mayor, and totally concur with the remarks of Alderman Hussey and content to second that. He's entirely correct. The work that Much Ado Stage School does throughout the entire community of Castleberg is nothing short of unbelievable. And I think the work that in particular Ross Kelly does with the young children there is highly commendable in terms of their personal development, and indeed that can be shown by the fact that several of our pupils have in the past appeared in TV drama series, and there's others who will be appearing in TV shows in the future. So just to commend the group and to second my proposal.
Thank you. Moving on now to the last item, the chairperson's business, and that's Christopher.
Mayor, and very briefly, I'm going to just make a change to an outside body. Can I replace Councillor McGowan with Councillor Amanda Clark on the board of the Resource Centre and Derry. Mayor, with your indulgence, I've just one other item that I just want to raise, and I'll be very brief. I know it had already been raised at one of the earlier committees, but I just want to take this opportunity on behalf of Sinn Féin to offer our heartfelt condolences to our Chief Executive on the passing of his father. I know it was raised at a committee, but this is the first call, the full council meeting. So on behalf of our group, we send our condolences to John and his family. Thanks, Mayor.
Councillor Boyle Tierney. Councillor Tierney.
Yep, thank you, Mayor. And I just had to nip out there. But on behalf of the SDLP, we obviously send our condolences to John and his family as well. At this very, very difficult time. Mayor, I was looking for somewhere where I could bring this up, so I'm glad that it has been raised, and I think it's very appropriate that it is raised. I would also, Mayor, add on to that with hopefully your support, the passing of the father of our former colleague, Angela Dobbins, who passed away at the weekend. If we could also send our condolences to Angela and her family at this very difficult time as well. And perhaps, Mayor, if you wouldn't, maybe writing out to Angela, just on behalf of Council, expressing our condolences to Angela and her family. And I know there's two relatives in this chamber, so just to...
Certainly, but okay, Alderman Kerrigan.
Thank you very much, Mayor, for letting me in. And do thank Christopher for raising it. And do on behalf of the DUP group, we do send our sympathies to John on the passing of his father, and again to Angela on the passing of her father as well. But again, and as I said to John as well, you know, he should be entitled to time off, and time should be taking time. Things can keep taking over, and you know, your commitment to it, John, is very stoic there. But you know, everyone, when you need time, you need time, and I do very much appreciate that you're always there at the end of the phone. And but as I say, it's just that we do sympathise with you sincerely on the passing of your father.
Alderman Gay.
Thank you, Mayor, and just to echo what everyone else has said here in the chamber as well. Sincere condolences to John and his family on the passing of his father, and Angela Dobbins and her father as well, if they could pass on our sympathies there as well. But totally agree with what Alderman Kerrigan has said. John has led this council the whole way through his father's illness, and it's came near to all our doors at some stage. We lose a parent. Not a nice thing, and you know, speaking from experience, I would advise he take some time off, and I hope that he does do the time. He says, we'll always get by, as they say.
Councillor Harkin.
Thank you, Mayor, for letting me in. And I already did this at the committee meeting earlier this month, but John's here in person now. So on behalf of myself and People Before Profit, we extend our condolences on the passing of his father, Daniel. And I concur with what other colleagues have said about taking time off if it's necessary, but I'm sure our Chief Executive can figure that one out himself. And I also pass on our sympathies to Councillor Angela Dobbins, and if it's okay, Mayor, I'll just mention that Carmel Mulrine passed away this month as well, the mother of our former People Before Profit councillor Maeve O'Neill. And Carmel will have been well known to a lot of people here who worked in the community sector over many, many decades. So I think, you know, I think that some of the tributes that were in the local papers and elsewhere, I think spoke to the contribution that Carmel made over many, many years.
Yes, I'll get a letter sent off to Maeve too. Okay. So, moving on, folks. It is the item number 6, and the confirmation of the open minutes of the meeting of Derry City and Strabane District Council held on Wednesday, the 28th of February, 2024, pages 7 to 48. Second, proposer and seconder, please. Thank you, Sandra. Catherine, thank you. Any matters arising? Go ahead.
Gurmagh Mayor, and just in reference to C88/24 on page 14, I've sent a proposal through to the committee section, and it's just in relation to what was discussed on violence against women and girls. And it's just to welcome the news that has come this week from Ulster Bank and Strabane, that its branch is to be highlighted as a safe space for victims of domestic abuse. And they have invested money, and I don't think it's very often that we can commend or give any praise to banks. I think this might be the first and the last time that you'll ever hear me giving praise to banks, but on this occasion, I think they need to be commended for providing their staff with specialist training. It's one of 19 branches right across these islands that they are piloting a programme whereby there is a safe space, staff are trained, and those who are facing domestic abuse and find themselves in that horrible situation, that there is a use of a telephone who can signpost and put them in the direction of the help and support that they might need. I think it's particularly welcome in an area like Strabane, whereby it can be very hard to access services at times in rural areas, and particularly a bank is a place where a lot of people go without any questions being asked, and I think that's welcome. It may be easier to walk into a bank for someone than it would be to certainly access services such as Foyle's Women's Aid or the likes, all who do great work. But it might not just be as easy to walk in there as it would be to walk into a bank and it not be knowing what you're going in for, other than what we all go into a bank for. So I just want the proposals on the screen for people to have a look at, but that we commend the bank for providing the special staff training, and that we write to them to see if there's any way that council can support and highlighting that service that is now going to be in our city, or in our district, sorry. So it's just a proposal on the screen, Mayor. Thank you.
Have I seconder for that proposal? Yep, thank you, Sandra. Folks, everybody in agreement? Yeah. Yeah. Did you want to speak? Well, if Councillor Harkin, is it on that issue? That was a different issue. Is this on this issue? Go ahead.
Just on behalf of the SDLP, as a Strabane councillor, just to welcome the initiative from the Ulster Bank. It is fantastic, an initiative to bring in to Strabane town. And I think it would be right in saying that we as this council should be encouraging other banks right throughout the council and throughout the country to do the exact same. But thanks to Councillor Boggs for raising it, and we're more than happy to support.
Hey, folks. Councillor Harkin.
Thank you, Mayor. It's C93/24, and I wanted to speak to Gaza and the ongoing genocide there. I want to thank council officers and council workers for making sure the council buildings were lit up in the Palestinian colours over the St. Patrick's Day weekend. I think that was brought, those images were shared across Ireland and across the world. And I also want to commend the thousands of people who marched on the US consulate over St. Patrick's Day weekend, and who marched in Dublin as well, and right across Ireland. While Biden was having a party in the White House, to send a message to Biden that he doesn't support the slaughter of Palestinians in our name. And I sent through Teresa there a short proposal. This week is the anti-apartheid week across Ireland, and there's lots of events being planned this week by the Derry Ireland Palestine Solidarity Campaign, and one of them on Saturday I think is a especially important one, which is Know Their Names, children killed in Gaza. And Palestine Solidarity activists spent hours recording the names of thousands of children that have been slaughtered in Gaza over the last 6 months. And that's going to be broadcast from 2 o'clock on Saturday in the Guildhall Square. And I'm just asking that, council supports that, and that we encourage participation at it as well. It took hours to record this. Some of us here participated in it. Many others did as well. But we didn't actually get to record all the names of children that are killed. It's less than a third, and the broadcast is scheduled to go from 2 to 9:30, which is just that tells you how many children have been killed in Gaza. And look, I think this week we've seen the United Nations Security Forum vote for a ceasefire. Obviously, there's lots of ways round that ceasefire, but that it was the first time that a ceasefire motion passed through the Security Council because the United States government abstained. And I think that that's a step forward. But unfortunately, the slaughtering continues because people are killed every night still in Gaza, and Israel is still planning its invasion of Rafah. So until the violence stops, I think we have to, continue to speak about Palestine and support the protests that are happening right across the world. The reality is now they're actually voting for a ceasefire. Hypocritically, the British government voted for a ceasefire. The American government abstained. I see the European Union Commissioner Ursula von der Leyen now saying that she supports an immediate ceasefire. If these people had supported an immediate ceasefire 6 months ago, 35,000 Palestinians wouldn't be dead. Gaza would not be demolished and annihilated in the way that it is, and Israel wouldn't feel emboldened to have a plan to remove and ethnically cleanse millions of Palestinians out of the Gaza Strip. So I think that the global pressure is clearly having an impact on hypocrites like Biden, but clearly until the bullets and the bombs and the ammunition that the United States government is sending stops and Israel is no longer able to carry out this genocide, I think we have to continue to do everything we can to stand in solidarity with Palestinians. So supporting the events this week and the Know Their Names event on Saturday, I think, is a small contribution to that effort to stop the slaughter and to raise awareness around Palestine and to send our solidarity and support to people in Gaza and across the Palestinian diaspora.
Have you a seconder for that proposal, Councillor Harkin? Councillor McDade, okay, thank you. Councillor McDade.
Thank you, Mayor, and thanks, Councillor Harkin, for bringing the proposal. I was one of the people that did record the names, and the names that I think I was like the 10th or 11th person, so I was well over 1,000 on it. And the names that I was reading were 3- and 4-year-olds, which, I mean, just tells you, I read hundreds of names the same age as my children, and it was really, really heartbreaking, is the only way to put it. I would encourage everybody to go up and listen to it, even if it's only for half an hour, because it's just devastating, the number of children, right from not years, not months, right up to 18 that we recorded. And like Sean said, that's only a percentage of the people, because there's so many that we don't even know are dead, or they're just lost in rubbles and we don't have names. I would encourage everyone to go to all the events across the City and District this week. It is Anti-Apartheid Week. There's lots going on. Just check out social media. I know there's different groups doing them, and I would encourage everyone to go everywhere and just take to the streets and continue with the rallies, because as Sean has said, if this had stopped 6 months ago, 3 months ago, how many people would still be alive? And we are making a difference. It is right across the world what we're doing, and I think we need to continue with it. Thank you.
Alex.
Good Mayor, and thank you to Councillor Harkin for raising this. And this is Councillor McDade just said there. There's also other groups organising events throughout this Apartheid Week, and in particular the Strathfoyle community and ourselves are involved in the Land Day sponsored 5K walk, what will take place at Crankshaw to Strathfoyle and back again. What's good to see that this is inclusive of all groups, of course, IPSC and that. So just to highlight that, and as the UN resolution stated the other day, that it's important that we have lobbying from all sections and all groups. So it's good to see. Mayor.
Alderman Kerrigan.
Just briefly, Mayor, a very sensitive issue, but we'll abstain on this one.
Well, our speakers, so there is the whole DUP unit, yeah. Oh, sorry, Alderman Gay.
Just to let you know that we abstain too. We keep up with our abstention on anything to do with the situation. Thanks.
So can I take it that everybody else is?
I just asked a wee quick question. I wonder, is it anything to do with the situation or anything to do with a ceasefire?
Are you asking me?
Just it's a rhetorical question, Mayor. To the room, just based on the last comments, that they're abstaining based on the situation. I'm wondering, is it based on the situation or is it based on the call for a ceasefire? Just that's all.
Mayor, can I come in there?
Okay.
I just to answer Councillor Kennedy, we have always abstained on everything this, and I think I made my point on this a number of weeks ago when I said that from now on we would be abstaining on anything that was dealing with the Palestine-Israel conflict. We are totally happy to see a ceasefire. In fact, I was shocked to see Russia and China veto it through the week there. So it just shows you that one country's happy to let it go on as if it can hide what they're doing in other parts of the world. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, does anybody else have a differential opinion? Is everybody else for this motion? Except for those that are going to abstain? Yeah. Is that okay, John, or do we have to go through the vote?
So our two parties
Two
abstain?
parties, yes.
That's fine.
Okay.
That's wrong. Okay.
Okay. Eight. Proposer and seconder, please. Thank you. Seconder. Thank you. Any matters arising? No. Item number 9, the confirmation of the open minutes of the special meeting of Derry City and Strabane District Council held on Monday, the 4th of March 2024, pages 59 to 76. Could I have a proposer and seconder, please?
Proposed.
Thank you.
I'll second, Mayor.
Thank you, Emma. Matters arising? No matters arising. Moving on to item number 10, and we have the monthly governance and strategic planning committee held on Tuesday the 5th of March 2024, pages 77 to 96. Proposer and seconder, please.
Propose, Mayor.
Thank you. Any matters arising? Councillor Harkin.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I've just sent a short request or proposal to Teresa there. So look, we had a good discussion with NI Water when they came in here about their work, but I have to say I was very, very alarmed at the Auditor General's report that was published in the last week about the state of our water, our rivers and our lakes, which is really a statement about the state of our water ecosystem. And it's very disappointing to see that none of the targets that have been created through Stormont have been met. In fact, our rivers and our water, the quality has got worse, and this is very, very, very alarming. It's shocking, in fact, and the statistics coming out of that are, just awful. That since 2015, there's been no improvement on the state of our rivers, absolutely none. Which is, there was lots of targets put in place by DERA. None of them have resulted in an improvement. In terms of our lakes, there's actually been a reversal, whereas I think in 2014, 2015, 24% of our lakes were viewed to be in good ecological status. Now it's down to 14%. So I think this speaks volumes to the failure of Stormont to protect our water ecosystem, which is a disaster for us who depend on it, but also a disaster for our environment as well. There was also, I think, in the report, a lack of information about sewage overruns in the northwest. And I know that there's been some attempts to kind of gather up that information. But this is also worrying. This is when there's flooding or heavy rain and sewage just runs directly into our rivers and into our lakes. And I think this is something we need more knowledge about so that we can actually call for different actions. So I would like to propose that on the back of this very, very alarming report that we invite in the Auditor General. If she can't make it, one of our officials would be able to take questions from us about the report. And also, I think we should have representatives here from DERA who are tasked with the protection of our rivers and lakes. And clearly they have failed and they should be held accountable to this. And I think now that Stormont is back, you know, there can be no excuses in terms of saying there's no government up and running and we can't do anything about this. This is something that we need action on. And I think we have to be on the front foot here in the council area to try and make sure that happens. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, do you have a seconder for that proposal? Councillor Barr. Everybody in agreement? Yes.
It's just a clarification. Certainly no difficulty with the proposal, but are we specifically looking at lakes and rivers within the confines of Derry, Sidney and Strabane District Council, which is our area of responsibility, rather than taking on the whole of Northern Ireland on this?
Sorry, can I come back, Mayor? Yeah, look, I agree. That's why I mentioned about the northwest and sewage overruns. But look, the reality is our rivers run not just across the north; they run right across the island. And I think that we have to make sure. I mean, the thing about this report and what's come out since is that the south, we've actually seen an improvement in the state of our lakes and rivers. So it's some of these rivers cross the border, and you know, this is a ridiculous situation. So, you know, we should have a coherent all-Ireland plan to protect our lakes and rivers. And that would be one of the things that we could be talking to DERA about how to collaborate and coordinate activities with the authorities across in the south. Thank you.
So everybody in agreement with that, Jen? Okay, any other matters arising? Councillor Farrell?
Just briefly, Mayor, at item 8, I missed this, but it was the presentation from the representatives from Nikki. I'm not recorded as being present, but I was there and I spoke on the meeting. I'm minuted as speaking, but not minuted as being present. So if that could be amended, please.
Okay, that'll be corrected. Moving on now to the monthly planning committee held on Wednesday, the 6th of March 2024, pages 97 to 110. Could I have a proposer and seconder? Thank you, folks. Any matters arising? Councillor Harkin?
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, and it's H1 OB, is it? Sorry, LA 2022-0862/F, and it's in relation to HMO planning proposal that was put in. And look, we spoke a bit about the university and expansion plans, which we want to see. And Alderman Hussey did say, look, we have asked for meetings with the university officials to talk about their student accommodation plans. And I followed up with council officers to ask, have they responded? Because we have written to them and they haven't responded to the council yet, which I find somewhat frustrating, to be quite honest. And I've written to the Vice-Chancellor as well, because we didn't hear back from the council. So look, I think we need that meeting. I was able to meet with other officials who are, I don't mean to be derogatory, but lower down in terms of their accountability and their role. And I was able to have a good conversation with them about some of their the pressures that they face. And in that conversation, I mentioned that there was a planning application put in and that went through the council for 63 Abercorn Road, and that the proposer specifically talked about this was accommodation for international students. And I think that that may have swayed some members to vote for it because we want to be welcoming to students. But the university representatives knew nothing about this, and they says that this is not one of the areas of the city that they are actually encouraging development of student accommodation. So look, I think that this is part of the issue about how this develops, because we want to do it in a coordinated, planned kind of way. But they were surprised to hear that the proposer had actually talked about the fact that the university needs between 500 and 700 beds right now to meet their accommodation needs. And I thought it was surprising as well that because it seemed to me that they had been in an engagement, and maybe I was wrong to think that, with the university about a HMO for students. So I think that this is something members just need to be aware on in terms of, nobody wants to say no to the university in terms of its needs. Nobody wants to say no to student development, but that was the opinion of university representatives on it. Thank you.
Any other matters arising? No. Moving on to the reconvene planning committee held on Thursday, the 7th March 2024, pages 111 to 116. Proposer and seconder, please. Thank you. Thank you. Any matters arising? No. The monthly business and culture committee held on Tuesday, the 12th of March.
Propose, Brian, Councillor Hart.
Right, okay. Seconder,
Seconded.
please. Thank you. Any matters arising? Councillor Harkin? Aye.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. This is in regard to the BC 48/24 off-street parking. And I think that the council Facebook page did an update today saying that a new organisation would be taking over off-street parking, and they would be wearing, instead of the red uniforms, they'd be wearing the blue uniforms, and there would be a new app that people would be able to download. And look, I've been contacted by some residents who are concerned about the practices of Marsden Limited. Let me just get that right. Marsden Holdings Limited. And a bit of research. This is an organisation that operates in England and Wales. They work with councils on enforcement, and they operate as bailiffs as well. And they've been criticised by a number of debt charities, by the Union Acorn, and debt justice organisations for their practices. They've made huge profits in recent years. I mean, we're not talking about 1 or 2 million, we're talking about tens of millions. And I think that I would just be a bit concerned about their practices and what that would mean for our council area. So I would like to propose that we ask council officers to prepare a short report on the ethical practices of Marsden Holdings Limited, and to just have a look at how they operate and what we think of their standards in terms of how they treat people. Because I mean, this should be something that is a non-issue, but their practices have been brought to light elsewhere. They are going to be working for our council, and I think 7 other councils. But I wanted to highlight this and make sure that as this contract is beginning, I think we're going to have to monitor their activities, because we don't want a situation where an organisation that has unethical practices begins to get a foothold here and normalise unethical practices that are taking place in England and Wales.
Just going to bring Stephen on now.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Obviously happy to bring back a report as asked, but just to be clear that although it's a new contract, it's actually NSL who they're operating, but it is Marsden Holdings are exactly the same as what have been operating the red coats up until now. It was just the split was that we took over the contract whenever off-street car parking became council's responsibility. DFI already had the contract with NSL. And so we shared that contract whenever it came up for retender, and it was tendered by Belfast Council as lead on the tender exercise for the 7 councils that are involved. DFI wanted to separate that contract, so they wanted to run their own. So the red coats remain as DFI, and now this blue uniform will come in, but it's actually the same company running both. But happy to prepare a report and bring it back to members for consideration.
Any other matters arising? No. Moving on then to the monthly Environment and Regeneration Committee held on Wednesday, 13th of March 2024, pages 123 to 136. Proposer and seconder, please.
Opposed.
Thank you. Any
Second.
matters arising?
Yeah. Or me.
Alderman Kerrigan?
ER 7424. In regards to Castlereagh Recycling Centre, we hadn't made a decision at the committee meeting. I suppose we had sought to get information then and confidential, and then we'd sort of scuppered ourselves that we couldn't then make a decision. I had sent a proposal in to Teresa. I don't know if she got it. Might have sent a couple for a change at the winter times on there, to be truthful. That's just it's in regards to the cycling centre there that reading it for you can't really see it that powerful, that this council thanks the owners of the Drunquin Road site for their interest, but at this stage we will not progress with this site. Any appropriate costs incurred by the Drunquin Road site owners to be noted and refunded if this site does not progress, or sorry, that's the wrong one, proceed, should say. Is that it? Sorry. That's an amendment in that one. Any appropriate costs incurred by the Drunquin Road site owners to be noted and refunded. We ask officers to review all 4 remaining possible sites which have been previously highlighted by officers and bring a report back to the May Environment and Regeneration Committee meeting. And if no progress is seen by then, we will seek to expressions of interest on possible new recycling centre locations in the Castlereagh area. So that's a proposal. We know the concerns in regards to the current site, and there had been 5 possible sites identified, the current site here being one of them. So it's looking at the current 4, the remaining 4, and then potentially then going on to that if that proposal's in order, Mayor.
Have we a seconder? Thank you.
I think from an officer perspective, I don't know whether this is a valid notification or not. So,
Mayor, Mayor, through you, can we take a wee minute to
We're
consider?
just discussing, just 1 wee minute, please, 1 minute. Okay, we are going to go for 5 minutes, okay? Right, folks, we now have a proposal on the table, and as you will notice, the second paragraph has been removed. So just want you to note that. But Keith, can I have a seconder for your proposal? Sorry, was it already done? Sorry. So do you have any speakers? Alderman Hussey.
I welcome the change to that. I think it gives us the options that we need taking this forward. We realise locally that there are issues. This allows us to, as a council, to look at those issues. So I welcome the change in the current proposal. Thank you.
Barry?
Margaret Vera, and likewise, I welcome the amendment there to the proposal. I don't think we should have been ruling out any option at this stage. But I presume, Mayor, that this will give time then for officers of E&R committee to collate that information about the other sites. So that allows us then to make a final decision on it. And a report will be brought back to E&R at the most suitable month.
Go ahead, Karen, just for a wee bit of clarity there.
Yeah, I think just given the resolution that's proposed, clearly officers will take into consideration the first paragraph and then the other options, if that's what members decide to agree today.
So everybody's clear that we're not proposing to go ahead with that, the current proposal, the current location. Okay. Any other speakers? Councillor Cheney.
Thank you, Mayor, and I'll be very brief, just to say that we also welcome the amendment. I was slightly worried that we might be setting a precedent where there is talk of refunds and one thing and another before a paper is actually brought. I think it is important that a paper is brought to the committee and people are allowed the opportunity to look at all of the options that are there and then question with officers around any particular recommendation. I think that's important, as opposed to, with the greatest respect to Alderman Kerrigan, having it bounced here and we're talking about refunds of appropriate costs and who decides whether it's appropriate or not and how much is it, we don't even know, and all that. So I think this is a good juncture where we're going to, and we're happy to support the amended proposal now with the proviso, I suppose, that a further report on all of the options will be brought back to E&R for that, to have that discussion at the committee. Thank you.
Bring Rory back on there.
Mayor, just to clarify, Mayor, I didn't catch quite what you had said in response, but this proposal is just pausing progress with the site, and it's not ruling out any option, which we would be happy to support.
That's correct, yeah. Yeah. So any other speakers? No. So I take it that's unanimous then? Yep. Okay, thank you. Any other matters arising? No. E&R? No. Moving on then to the Monthly Health and Communities Committee held on Thursday, the 14th of March 2024, pages 137 to 148. Can I have a proposal? Thank you, and Irene. Any matters arising? Alderman Hussey.
Thank you, Mayor. Page 143, where's it? HC 61/24. It's not a correction. Well, it is a correction on my behalf. I suppose you described it as a senior moment. I did say Victoria Bridge Playgroup. I meant to say Ardstraw Playgroup. So my apologies on that. The minute is correct.
That will be amended.
I made the mistake. Thank you.
Any other matters arising? Catherine?
Thank you, Mayor. We had received a deputation from the Western Urgent Care and the SPPG on health communities this month, and they outlined their role and a lot of the challenges that they're facing. And as a committee, we'd agreed that the service needs more funding, but we'd also agreed that we would like to have more say in the kind of strategic planning and the oversight of the service, particularly around the reduction. There's a massive reduction in services in Strabane. So I think it was Councillor Boggs who had asked who the elected rep was on the Western Urgent Care Steering Group. So I just wondered if that was available for full council, because that's what we'd asked for. I just think it's really important that we have a rep there representing the constituents and making sure that we're fighting to have the services in place in places like Strabane that really need it. Thank you.
Thank you. I haven't been invited to any meetings.
Yeah, but apparently you haven't been invited to any meetings, so maybe that needs to be rectified.
We'll follow up.
Okay.
Don't want to speak for Councillor Duffy, but I think it's important that we follow that up because,
Yeah.
you know, we're
Exactly.
pushing on, time's pushing on. It was obviously the AGM last year where I assume where someone was nominated on it, and if they haven't been invited to a meeting yet, then there's something badly wrong.
Okay. Any other matters arising? No. Right. Moving on to the bi-monthly Assurance Audit and Risk Committee held on Tuesday, the 19th of March, 2024, pages 149 to 162. Can I have a proposer and seconder, please? Thank you. Thank you. Any matters arising? No. Can we get a proposer to go on to confidential, please? Thank you. Thank you.